7-iron like John Davis at 3.
You suck, you jackass. I can make things out of clay and made by the bay I just made.
There is old Mr. Three Wiggle, isn't there?
You take drugs, Danny? Every day. Good.
Still going.
All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to For The Game podcast, episode 5, brought to you by the guys at GolfDoods with insight into and input from the PFP Tour, looking into all things golf. I want to quickly thank our sponsors at sweetrollsgolf.com and kegsmiths.com. Go check those guys out. We have a discount code PFP15. We'll get you 15% off anything on their websites. Once again, my name is Jeff Lewis from GolfDoods. As always, we have with us Mark Bonus. What's going on, Mark?
Jeff, man, I am just, I'm still floating a bit. I feel like watching Phil win, kind of a, one of the top golfers that I watched as a kid come back and win as a 50-year-old. It's exciting. It also makes me think he was 49 last year. That doesn't sound old considering, being 35. 49 doesn't seem like it's that old, but apparently it's ancient. So
yeah, I know. Well, that's what I thought too. I mean, look, come on, Phil. First of all, I'm with you, dude. I've been on cloud 9 ever since it happened. It was one of those tournaments watching where it just with every minute, I'm like, something's going to go wrong. Someone's going to steal it from him. He's going to hit a shank. It was like a nerve-wracking Sunday afternoon for me. I'm sure you felt the same, huh?
Well, and it's funny too, because on Saturday, he just went out there and I think he was up 5 strokes. He was like 10 under, and I don't know, Brooks was maybe 5 under or something. And I was like, This is amazing. He's going to run away with it.
Yeah.
And then I look over 2 minutes later and it's like, he's got a 1-stroke lead. And I'm like, what the hell, Phil? Like the whole time it kind of felt like he's got this, but he could lose control of it at any moment. You know what I mean? He could slip away from, like, he just wanted to hurry up and finish the round before he loses it,
Yeah, no, I needed the clock to expire quickly, man. Yeah. I mean, I was scarred from, and I've been scarred since 2009, the Open with Tom Watson, a very similar situation. And ever since then, that was another one where on Sunday, I mean, he could have ran away with it. And on Sunday, he just kind of started letting it slip, but holding on to it. And then on 18, I don't know if you remember, he sails one over. He just has to chip it up and putt it in to make it. He chips it up and he putts it. He misses the putt. And it was that moment of like, no, he's going to make the putt. He's going to win. He's going to be the oldest major winner of all time. And then he missed it. And it was like, oh no, that's not a reality. And then he loses the playoff. And so I'm sitting there the entire time thinking, I've seen this before. Phil Mickelson's about to blow this. And plus, I mean, how crazy was it that, I mean, a lot of great competitors out there. I mean, you had Louis who was fighting behind him going low, but you had Brooks right behind him. And anytime Brooks is up there at the top of a leaderboard, especially in a major, even though he was playing like shit, he couldn't putt. He was missing 3-footers for birdies and pars and stuff. It still felt like he was going to come back and ruin the entire day.
I mean, how would you like to be in the lead and have Brooks on your ass? You know what I mean?
Not at all. 0%.
Especially Brooks with the goatee. Ooh.
Dude,
frightening.
That was like the traditional, like you put the goatee fitter to your face and shave it. It was a very clean looking goatee. Yeah, I mean, at one point he got down to, so I think Phil was at 6 under and Brooks bogeyed, I think 2 in a row or had a double bogey. He got down to he was 2 under and Phil was still sitting up at 5 or 6. And there was still like 2 or 3 people in between them. But for some reason, I'm looking at that leaderboard and I'm going, no, Brooks is going to come back and win. Even on 18, my girl was sitting right next to me and she was like, wait, he's got this. And I'm like, I don't know. Like if he bogeys and Brooks birdies, that's it. And as the hole progressed, she was like, okay, well, he's got it now. Right. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Brooks could hold out right here. It's like with every second.
I was saying the same thing. I mean, when Phil sliced, I guess for him, that'd be a slice into the crowd,
bombed it, by the way.
Yeah, right. He was hitting his driver well,
dude.
But when that happened, I was like, yeah, this is not over until that ball goes in the hole. You know what I mean? It's not over till everyone's done.
I mean, I felt the same way 2019 Tiger. I mean, the same thing coming up 18, like you felt comfortable. You felt like he had it, but I don't know if you remember this. He hits an approach shot to the right and it comes up short and it kind of goes in this little gully. So he's looking at a pretty tight chip and he has to get it up and down to win. Mm-hmm. And so, he sprays it right. It's laying there in that little ditch. And I'm looking at it and the same thoughts. I'm like, he's going to fuck this up. Yeah. I just know only because, I mean, I guess we've been so mentally sabotaged by ourselves because I can't speak for you, but I know I would have fucked both of those situations up.
All day. I played on Sunday. I messed up a lot of shots that were way easier.
What do you, how would you feel? You're Brooks Koepka. You don't give a fuck about anything else except for golf. I don't even know if he cares about golf, honestly. But you're up there. In his mind, I'm sure he was thinking he was going to win. I mean, he's not the type of guy that's out there thinking someone else is going to take this. How do you deal with that, missing those putts when he should have beat Phil by 5? Honestly, I think he loses. What are you doing with that? How do you take that?
Well, first of all, I think you're right. I mean, these guys are such amazing competitors that they do think, yes, I can win this, so what do I have to do to win it? But if you're out there and your putter's not working, that's got to be such a mind fuck, because it's such an important club. Obviously, it's such an important part of the game. And for that to be off, I mean, that's where the strokes come from. You know what I mean? He can recover after hitting it in the rough, but you can't recover from missing a putt. I mean, that's another stroke.
And it just hurts because it looks like you've done the hard work, like the biggest birdie putt he missed was on 11 or 12 or somewhere a little later in the round. And he drops this thing to 3 feet or whatever it was. And so, in your mind, you're thinking that's the hard part, everything else on the hole, he's got the rest. And then he misses the 3-foot putt and you're like, oh man, he did all the hard work. And now, but Phil too.
His putting wasn't even close, man. He was missing by. It's not like he was just burning the edge or stopping short. I mean, it was stopping way short or completely misreading it. I don't know what the deal with that is.
Yeah, and his whole team said they stayed late yesterday. Said they worked it out. They figured it out. The ball was a little too far outside his eye line, so they said they moved it back. And then his post round, he's like, yeah, I don't know why we switched things up. I went back what I was doing and it felt better. It's like sometimes, they're tinkering out there so much with just like so many minute details.
Yeah.
Sometimes you tinker too much, man.
It's funny. I thought it was starting to get in Phil's head too, even though he was putting pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed on 17 when he had to, finish that hole, he stood over it with his normal putting grip and then switched it to the claw.
Yeah, the underclaw. Yeah. I did notice that.
Yeah. And then I'm pretty sure that's how he ended up putting it. And it was just weird because I was watching him because I have this idea about putting and like the grip that you should use, right? Like what's best. My brother-in-law is all over the place with the grip. Every time I play with him, he has a brand new grip that he's
he's searching out there, huh?
Yeah. And so I was looking at Phil, and Phil has a regular exact putter grip, putting grip that I have, which is just regular.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I saw him do the claw, I was like, oh God, he's getting in his head, but he sunk it. Yeah.
That wasn't the only time that earlier. Faldo called him out. He was lining up a putt earlier in the day, and just when he kind of gets into his settling, separating his feet, moving around, he adjusts his club head, his putter head. Drastically. And even Faldo was like, "Whoa, that was a big adjustment." And same thing, he sinks the putt. So it's like, okay, just hold on and keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Even out there playing as a lefty. Here, I want to get your take on this. There was a audio clip from the guys over at Golf Central who we love. They were talking to Phil after the round, and they had an interesting take. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll talk about it. But kind of about the visual of a golf course and how mentally, even just looking at a hole a little bit differently can kind of change the way you play it. Check this out.
You get the last crack. Jordan Spieth mentioned last night that he felt like it was an advantage for you being left-handed because your visual is different on the golf course. This is something Bones and I have talked about as we work together, during live telecast. Do you feel like it was an advantage for you on, say, 10, 11, 12, on those holes where there's more trouble on the left, and when you take your first look, you're actually looking to the safer sides of the fairways and the greens? Absolutely.
I love Phil's answer there. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to play that. I want to get your take on it because it was an interesting perspective that here on For the Game, we've been talking about how big the mental game is and just kind of staying within yourself. And that was an interesting thought to me of how mental the game really is. Even the visual of not seeing the trouble on a hole gave one of the greatest golfers of all time the feeling like he was more secure on those specific holes where the wind was going just right and he wasn't looking at water, he was looking at dry land. Just kind of wanted to open that up as an interesting thought. Do you get out there when you just played yesterday in the rain, some tough conditions? Were you out there looking at the trouble spots, trying to forget about the trouble spots? Where do you kind of go in your head?
You know, man, my head is not a place anybody wants to be when I'm out on the golf course. It makes sense though, right? So yes, as a golfer, you're always looking at where the trouble is, so not to go there. Where do I need to lay up for my next shot? Bunkers and everything. But you'd think these guys, these pros, that wouldn't make a difference to them. But the fact that Phil said absolutely, and I'm pretty sure he was being serious there.
Yeah, he was.
Is fascinating. The thought that I can, as a righty, I see that water. It's in my visual right there. Therefore, that messes with my head a little bit. But as a lefty, I'm looking at dry land. That water's not really in my mind as much. And because of that, it's maybe a little easier or less of a mental kind of point in my mind. So, that's fascinating.
It just kind of makes you realize, too, that, I mean, it is such a mental game. Just the thought of knowing it's out there is messing with your swing somehow. I mean, if it's messing with the professionals, I can only imagine how much we're out there. Oh, that bunker. Oh, don't hit it towards that bunker. Now you're thinking about the bunker. Now the bunker's the only thing you can see. That ball's 100% going into the bunker, It's like, it's so funny how that happens.
And I think Phil's actually been it sounds like he's been working a lot on his mental game, the mental side of the game. He had mentioned after that, he's doing a lot of meditation now in order to, try to better himself for golf. And he made a comment that, something like this could very well be the last tournament I ever win.
Yeah, I heard this.
Or it could be that I've come to a place now mentally with my focus where I could just, be at the beginning of making a run here.
Yeah, totally.
And I thought that was, he's 50 years old. Everyone's talking about how he's old, which that comes with the thought of like, oh, my body's breaking down. I don't have the energy or the stamina. But for Phil, it's like, no, my body's, fine. It might be a little more work. I think he said something. It's going to be a little bit more work, but what's really more important is his mental game.
Right.
And coming to a place in his game where he has the focus that's required to win this kind of thing. Because if you think about it, man, to win a tournament and a major, you have to have such focus, right? To be able to, know exactly what you need to do, where you need to hit it. I mean, his caddy said something like, you're never going to win this thing if you're not committed. He said that the first 6 holes, he was hitting shots that he wasn't committed to. And that kind of flipped a switch in his brain. Like, okay, I got to be committed. I can't control everything. Just be committed to the shot and it'll work out.
Totally.
It did.
I mean, and I saw the day before, I kind of noticed, and I actually thought it was a good thing, which, again, just shows you how hard this game was. But it did. It looked like he was really controlling some of these drives into the fairway. And it looked like you could really tell he was having a very deliberate path of where he wanted that ball to start and where he wanted it to go. And for me, I thought, man, he's in real control. He's really controlling that swing. And just like you said, when his brother came up to him and said, you really need to commit to these swings, he explained that after the round, again, talking to the guys at Golf Central, he kind of described that as committing to a shot means that you are swinging at it full. You're not trying to control it. You're trusting that, I'm going to start this on a left line. I'm going to try to close the face. I'm going to make that hit a little draw. And, so they're trusting everything about it. And he said it was a drive on 7. Like you said, at 6 holes, his brother came and talked to him. He said the drive on 7 is where he really let loose, hit the shot that he wanted to shoot. And he said he committed to every single shot for the rest of the day, which it's awesome. He's been working on his irons a bunch. He's been working on his putting a bunch. But his mental game, his diet, he said his mental game, his exercise, and his diet have been as important to his comeback as anything else. So not only is golf hard on the course, you got to change everything about your life, okay?
Yeah, it sounds like it, man.
To get good, yeah. And Lefty inspired me, actually. It's something I kind of wanted to briefly talk about. Not much of a debate here, just kind of something I'm going to share. And we're going to keep updating on some of the socials. We'll update it on the YouTube page and on GolfDoods. But I had a buddy of mine I played around about a week ago, and a buddy of mine came out with me, and he's not a great golfer. But he's a fast, bad golfer, which is the kind of golfer we love. And so he comes out with me and he's hacking it around all day and he's not hitting it too well. And about halfway through the round, he looks at me and he says, "Hey, any advice?" And I said, "Look, man, I hate to give people advice on the course because it's this game's such a mind fuck. You're going to try to implement something I say. It's not going to work and you're going to be lost out here. Just swing your swing. Let's go to the range and we'll make a few things." He says, "Well, just give me 1 or 2. I said, "Fine." So I gave him 2 little kind of keep your head more still, stare at the ball, stupid little hacker tips. And legitimately, from that moment on, he really was making great contact almost the rest of the day, to the point where the other two in our group even said, like, man, what's turned around for you? You're really hitting it right now. And so, afterwards, I told him he owed me drinks, obviously. And he said, hey, would you ever be down to give me a lesson? Those are some great tips, and you got a decent swing. Would you want to go to the range and maybe give me some lessons? So I said, okay, I've never, sure, let's do this, man. And I went home and I immediately started thinking about how I would teach someone to play golf for the first time who doesn't have a great swing. And I started thinking about, where you start. It's naturally the grip and the address. And I started looking at my grip and how comfortable I am with the grip. And, being one of the most important parts of the golf swing, it's just something that as a golfer, you just grow accustomed to. And it feels awkward at first, but now it's like a duck in water. And so I started challenging myself, how can I get myself back into that mode where everything felt awkward and nothing felt right? Because I remember that when someone would tell you, keep your left arm straight, and it just never felt right. It's like, what am I doing here? So with Phil Mickelson inspiring me and my friend needing drastic help, I started teaching myself to swing the club left-handed. It's probably going to mess up my entire real swing. But if even at home right now, if you're listening, if you try to make a left-handed grip the way you would make a right-handed grip, or if you're left-handed, a right-handed grip the way you'd make a left-handed grip, it is the most awkward thing you've ever felt in your entire life. It does feel exactly like when someone first told you, grip it naturally the way that you grip it, and changed your grip. So I'm getting myself back into the I'm just learning how to golf mode. I'm going to teach this guy some things, and we're going to, over the course of the next month, we're going to see how much these tips that I'm working on are going to help him. They're probably going to hurt him. I'm probably ruining this guy's golf career and life.
It kind of reminds, my wife and I went to Topgolf, a year ago. This is pre-COVID, and she has never really hit a golf ball ever. Yeah. And so I had to teach, she wanted me to teach her how to hit it.
Of course.
And like nothing I was saying to her made sense. Like,
you're
why
right.
do you do that? That doesn't feel right. No.
Yeah.
But I was just like, just trust me, just listen. I would recommend to anybody who's serious about getting into the game of golf and wants to better their swing to read The Athletic Golf Swing by David Ledbetter.
Yes.
It is it's that and Lessons from a Pro. And the pro actually gave me that book to read. That changed everything about my game.
Lessons from a Pro. Who's that by?
About it, you got to put in the time, put in the work.
Who's Lessons from a Pro by? I've never heard of that one.
Oh, sorry. No, actually Getting Lessons from a Pro.
Oh, I thought it was a book you read. I'm like, oh, great. Yeah, no, lessons, along with, putting, practice more putting, stop chipping, putt from around the greens. That's the other thing that, look, we can spend $1 million on clubs. Our friend Brandon, who is not here with us tonight, we're going to get into that here in a second, but he just went out and spent a whole bunch of money on clubs. He's been through lessons. He's had lessons. But if you've never had a true golf lesson, I promise you, a month or two of golf lessons will help you more than a new driver. It's just going to, your swing getting better is always going to help more than equipment trying to help a swing that's not really hitting the ball.
And it's where you should start too. Not to interrupt you, but like, no, if you don't have that foundation and you go out there and you're just trying to hit balls, you're just going to give yourself bad muscle memory,
Yep.
And you might figure one or two things out, but you're probably not. You're probably always going to suck. And so go get lessons. You know what I mean?
That's the truth.
And then practice that. And that's what lessons do, right? You go out there, you learn one or two things each time, and you just focus on that and hit 5 buckets of balls. And then you go to your next lesson and work on that plus a few other things. And eventually you build yourself a pretty nice swing, but there's no way to do that without lessons.
Absolutely, man. What I tell all my friends who are just getting into the game, if you do that and you practice this game regularly and you have your mental focus on and you play enough, in 30 years, you can mildly suck at this game,
Right. Exactly. And that's what we're all trying to do.
If you just focus enough. Last thing on that, I was at Roger Dunn. It's a golf shop here in Los Angeles. And I was just swinging some things. They have some hitting stations and they do club fittings and such. And I was checking out. I hit some balls and I bought a wedge and I'm sitting there checking out. And one of the pros walks over and he's talking to one of the other pros and just beyond frustrated, he says to the other guy, he goes, man, this fucking guy wants me to fit him for clubs. He can't even hit the fucking ball. And it did, it's another reason why, yeah, you can go there and you can buy the new sim too. But if you're not hitting it consistently off the center of the club face, they can't tell you what you're going to do with it out there. It's as good as, your guess is as good as theirs at that point.
Yep.
So to all the lefties out there, we are feeling you. We're learning how to teach people at your expense. We appreciate you guys. And then again, another huge congrats to Lefty. We can't be more excited about this for the game of golf, for Phil himself, for his family. They've been through so much. Just all around an incredible win to see. But next week, moving on from the PGA Championship, Phil is coming back. Look, if he doesn't withdraw, I'm going to be surprised. I would withdraw personally. But we have the Charles Schwab Challenge going down in at the Colonial in Fort Worth, Texas. It's going to be another. We got a star-studded event, man. We got Phil, we got Jordan, we got Justin. Got a few guys out there playing this weekend.
So is this a regular golf tournament?
PGA. This is it. Yeah. Now I'm with you because I didn't look into the format, but the Charles Schwab Challenge, the word challenge, I don't know why it always makes me think, is there like a format, or is this one of the team events? Is there, are they playing twos? I don't know what's going on. But it's right in your neck of the woods. I'm thinking you need to buy a ticket and get out there and do some on course coverage, bro. What do you think?
I could do that. Although I didn't realize this until I moved here, that Fort Worth is an hour away from Dallas. What the hell? I thought they were like Minneapolis and St. Paul, like right next to each other, but it's like a trek to get out there. But yeah, I think that would be fun, man.
Everything in Dallas is like, 30 to 45 minutes away from itself. Pretty much. It's very spread out there. But man, it's going to be we're going to do some picks. So real quick, we actually didn't address it at the beginning of the podcast. We forgot, but we're going to address it right now as we're making our picks. You may have noticed, if you've been following the podcast, our third compadre, Brandon Fletcher, is not with us tonight. Brandon is laid up in the hospital right now. He's okay.
So he says.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to get into that. He's got kidney stones, guys. He's got kidney stones. Ouch is the word for that. We feel for him. We have another theory, and follow me if you will. He was supposed to come out to Los Angeles about a week and a half ago and play me. We had a grudge match going on. He got real busy at work. He got some work calls in and he had to cancel the trip. So he calls me, says, "Hey, hate to do it. We're going to have to push it about a month or so." I said, "No problem, man. You got work. Come on." So this weekend he books tea time with you, Mark. Y'all were supposed to go play Bear Creek there in Dallas. And wouldn't you know it, the day of, he calls and says, "Man, I got the stones."
We're talking night before. He says, "Hey, we're going to have to rain check because, I'm in a lot of pain. I got kidney stones and I got surgery on Monday."
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that is a lot. Just get out of playing golf. To just losing in golf, that's a lot to go through.
He's so worried. He had to come up with such a good car wreck. Couldn't do it. Work. It was the weekend. He couldn't use work. He just panicked. He went with kidney stones. And then he looked it up and realized, this is serious. I have to have surgery now. Fake surgery. No, he did send us pictures from the hospital. He's actually there. We wish you the best, Brandon. He'll be back in business tomorrow. And he did send in his pick from the hospital. So without further ado, we'll make our picks for tonight for the for the Charles Schwab Challenge. I am going to go with, he let me down the first week, and we're piggybacking here. This is the third week in a row. So we got some money that's starting to pile up here in this pool. I'm going to go with Justin Thomas.
Yeah, actually that's my pick too.
That's your pick too?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, hold on. I don't know if we can both, because we have a pool here. We can't both have the pick. I'd say we Rochambeau it right here live.
I feel like, well, I need to pull up the full list of.
Pull it up. I mean, if you, I'm down. I have one other person I could pick.
I do too, which I just want to make sure he's playing.
Okay. All right. Well, in the meantime, I'll tell you, Brandon, he did phone in his pick from the hospital, which we appreciate. He is going with Mr. Scotty Scheffler this weekend. Right. Not a bad pick. He's been playing well. He played really well at the Masters. I think he's due. He's got to be due. Great ball striker. So, yeah, he's going with Scotty. I think I'm going with Justin, unless you are sticking strong, in which case I'll move. I'll pivot if you want to stick with.
So, I mean, that's who I was going to pick because I feel like he's due for it.
If you want Justin, I'll pivot. I'm confident with another pick here.
You know what? I'm going to go with Matt Kuchar.
Okay. All right. I like that pick. Cooch has been playing. What was that? 2 weeks ago? He was up at the top.
The old guys are making a comeback. I feel like he's going to be inspired and he wants to get out there and kick ass.
I dig it. I'm actually pretty depressed that none of us picked Phil. I mean, wire to wire is a terrible pick, but just out of respect, I feel like we're showing no respect for Lefty out here, man.
If you look online at the charlesschwabchallenge.com/players/tournament field,
Yeah.
and you look at Phil's picture, he looks like a mad scientist.
We're going to put that up here.
He looks like he's just seen somebody get murdered.
I don't have it up, but as soon as this is over, I'm going to look. I promise.
Yeah, it's that's a hell of a picture there, Phil.
I'm ready. Well, I thought the one they were using all weekend with him, like this little half smirk and the half thumb up they were using at the PGA was a very interesting pick too, man.
That guy is a hell of a thumb upper.
Well, he's throwing
thumbs up all over the place.
Well, this is a story I read weeks ago, and I mean, I always find Phil entertaining. I love Phil, but maybe you don't know this. The way you just said this, you might not know this. Do you know who holds the record for most thumbs up in a round?
Is it Phil Mickelson from
It is Phil Mickelson. But when this is over, you need to go look up. I'll shoot you the link. And if you're out there listening, please go look up the road that he took to get this record. He has a full workout routine that he did. It was ridiculous. He had to do it. It was thousands of times. So, and then that round, it's amazing to watch because after every single shot, he's hat tipping thumbs up and hat tipping thumbs up. Just the entire round. It's amazing to watch. You got to go check that out.
I feel like it's a real middle of the road type of showing appreciation to the fans, right? Because you got Tiger who's just doing fist pumps all day. You got a lot of other things that are happening out there, but thumbs up, no one can get mad at you.
Right.
And no one's going to be overly excited either. It's like a real, it's almost like a presidential type of hand gesture. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's like,
he's another one
with the thumbs up.
Right. Totally. Well, he's another one that I know I embarrassed you yelling at Rory McIlroy on a golf course one time.
Yep.
He's another one I yelled at and got an amazing reaction. We went and saw Torrey Pines. We went and watched him play. And same thing. It was like a Thursday or Friday, very early in the tournament. He went walking by and same thing, just under my breath. I was like, not a baby Phil or something stupid or whatever it was. And he turns and he tips the hat, gives me the thumbs up. And me and my cousin, we lost it, dude. It was like coolest moment. When Phil Mickelson gives you a thumbs up, that's a day right there, man. I was having a day.
Yeah. No, that sounds like a great time.
Well, my boy, we got our picks in. We talked about Philly, the Phil, just absolutely taking it down. They're calling him Big Dick Mick now.
Are they really?
So, after his comment about the bombs, did you see this? As he told Brandel Chambly, he said, this was the longest golf course ever played in major golf history. And if you're going to win on that course, you got to hit bombs. And Brandel, I hit bombs. That's what he said. So after that,
he outdrove on, what was it, hole number 16 or 17?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he crushed it.
And he made a comment too on the post too, because they were showing, all the clips and stuff, and they were about to pan away. And he goes, "Wait, hold on, watch this. Look at this. Look at this. Yep, that's my ball going by Brooks's." He made them hold the press conference or the coverage so that you could see his ball trickle by.
He's got to be having so much fun with that. You know what I mean? I mean, might as well, because as he said, this could be the last one he ever wins.
And you have to live it up, man. It's so hard to win out there, even if age wasn't a factor. It's just so hard to win out there on the PGA Tour. Mm-hmm. You got to take every win with, that much more appreciation. So he was laying by the pool, drinking some wine. He said he was feeling half lit today, which I love. I love the oldest major champion of all time is using the phrase lit. I'm with it. So yeah, congrats to Phil. We need Justin, Scotty Scheffler, or Matt Kuchar to win the Charles Schwab Challenge. I want to thank everybody who tuned in and is listening to us talk golf. Thank you guys for all the support and for staying with us. I want to thank our sponsors one more time over there at sweetrollsgolf.com and kegsmiths.com. Again, go check those guys out. Really awesome products going on in both of those sponsors that we have. My name is Jeff Lewis from GolfDoods. As always, we have Mark Bonus. Thanks for sticking around. Mark, we'll see you next week, buddy.
All right. Cheers, Jeff. See you.